Hello everyone, it's Ari and welcome to my bookish universe. Today I'm going to do part 2 of the video, which you likely see the first one, so perhaps. But in the first one I told you that Nordli, which is a big bookstore chain in Norway, has this book bingo challenge for 2022. And the challenge of November is to read a yellow book. And I thought it would be fun to show you all my yellow books. So in the first part of the video I showed you all the yellow books I read, and in this part I'm going to show you all the really yellow books I own that I haven't read yet. So the synopsis might be more bad, I don't know, a lackful for this part of the video, but I will try. So the first book I have to show you is actually the fourth book in a series, and it's Romancing Mr. Bridgerton by Julia Quinn. This is the fourth book in the Bridgerton series, and I haven't read any of them yet, but I wanted to read them because I saw season 1 of Bridgerton and I thought it was kind of cool, fun. So I decided to buy it, and this was on sale, so I bought it on sale, because why not buy it on sale when it's a lot more cheaper than full price. But in this we follow Colin Bridgerton and Penelope Featherington. And Penelope has been secretly in love with Colin forever, but he is he's her best friend's brother, so it's a best friend's brother romance. But then she starts to realize some secrets about him, which kind of threatens to overshadow everything she knows about him. But Colin's been away for a while, and when he returns he kind of sees Penelope in a new light, and I think we all know where this is going to go, but I'm excited to read it nonetheless. So yeah. And the next book I have is I'll Give You the Sun by Jenny Nelson. In this book we follow two twins. We follow them, the book, as I've understood, is split in half. We follow one of the twins when they're 13 and still friends and do everything together. And then we follow the other twin when they're 16 and don't really talk to each other. Something happened that made them go their separate ways, and they no longer have this really tight relationship anymore. But then if they just talked, everything would be solved, because each of them just have half of the story. I've heard that this is really heartbreaking and a heavy read, an emotional read, so I'm kind of afraid to pick it up, but I've also heard that it's really, really good, so I'm excited to pick it up. But yeah. And then we have another sequel, and this is Take a Hint, Danny Brown by Talia Hibbert. And I'm really excited to read this because I read some of the first book and it was really funny, and I expect this to be just as funny. We follow the middle sister, Danny, and all she wants is like this friends with benefits relationship, because she's been through relationships and she's over relationships. She don't cares about relationships. She's done with that. So she wants just a casual thing, just to hook up in between. But then she is saved from, or carried out after a fire alarm, I think, at least by a security guard, and this is caught on film, so everyone sees it. It goes viral, and then she kind of agrees with Saf, who is the security guard, to fake a relationship with him, because either it will look bad for his charities, I think, or something. But secretly she is trying to seduce him because she wants this friends with benefit thing. But Saf, he isn't really in for that. He is a romantic and he wants to woo Danny. So let's see how that goes with this fake relationship and wooing, and yeah, it sounds hilarious and it sounds really good, so I'm excited to read it. And then in the last part, I showed you a Christina Lauren book. That was The Unharmonious. And in this part, I have the soulmate equation. You could argue that this is more orange, but I think of it as yellow, so yellow. And in this book, we follow Jess Davis, who is a single mom, I think. Yeah, she's raising a daughter, and she signs up for this program where via DNA test you could get your perfect match, and she thinks, why not? But then she gets her match, and it's Dr. Pena, who she has met, and he is definitely not her true match, but they have a 98% compatibility. So they really are a perfect match, and Pina convinces her to agree on a fake relationship to show that his app is working and that it's good and that people can use it. So she agrees because she is offered a heavy sum of money, I believe. But then as they spend time together and nurture this fake relationship, she starts to realize that maybe the DNA test actually works. Maybe they are a good compatibility. Maybe they are a good match. So, yeah. And then we have This Woven Kingdom by Tahara Mafi. This is a fantasy, and it's a new release this year, I think. I think so. I'm not going to give a good summary, so I'm just going to read it because that's what intrigued me. To all the world, Alicia is a disposable servant, never to be known for who she really is, the long-lost heir to an ancient kingdom. She is hunted always, forced to hide in plain sight, lest she expose herself to danger. Until one day, she makes a mistake. The Crown Prince Cameron has heard the prophecies. He knows the fearsome monster promised to kill his king. Darkness is fast descending upon his empire, driving Cameron to desperately seek out his source. But as he grows even more suspicious of the servant girl with the strange eyes, he learns more about her, and the harder it is to turn away, even if falling for someone like Alicia means forfeiting everything he knows. So I thought it sounded really good because it sounds like he is the new, or will be the new king of her empire. But then he falls in love with her, and I suppose she falls in love with him as well. But she is the real ruler of this ancient empire. I think that's how I interpret it. I don't know because I haven't read it yet, but I thought it sounded really good, and I like the lost heir trope. Some might say it's overused, but I really like it because I like fake royalty for some reason. Yeah. And then we have yet another really heart-hitting book, a really emotional read, and that is A Thousand Splendid Sun by Khalid Hosseini. I read The Kite Runner several years ago, and it was amazing. It was one of the best books I read, and it was so sad and hard-hitting and emotional and almost made me cry, and it was so good. So I bought his other book, but because of how much I liked The Kite Runner, I haven't yet read this because I'm afraid it won't live up to my expectations. But then it's also a really emotional read. I know it's going to be emotional, so I postpone and postpone and postpone and postpone it. But we follow Miriam, who is the bastard of a rich businessman in Kabul. And we follow Lila, Lila is from Kabul. She's grown up as a modern girl. These two women meet in a marriage with an abusive husband. He's brutal and he's just undermining, and they kind of have to stand together and stand up against him. So that's not really a lot to go on, but just from the summary, I know it's going to be a really hard-hitting book. So, yeah. And then we have a book I haven't really ever heard about. I just picked it up in a bookstore and thought it sounded good. But this is Mirror Mirror by Cara Delevingne. And everyone knows Cara Delevingne as a model, or also as an actress, but primarily as a model. And this is her book, and I think it's more of a mystery. We follow these 4 friends who is 16 years old, and they come together to create this band called Mirror Mirror. But then one of the friends disappears. She is gone for several weeks, and then she's found at the bottom of or near a river. She is in coma. She doesn't respond. Nobody knows what's happened, and the police deems it as a suicide attempt. The friends doesn't really understand this, so one of the friends, Red, tries to solve the mystery of why she was gone. Why did she disappear? What happened? And the other friends, one starts to party a lot, one I think starts to struggles with dark thoughts, and it's just the repercussions of the accidents, the disappearance, and how it came to be. So I thought it sounded really interesting. I haven't read it yet, but I'm excited to, which I've said for almost all of the books now, I think. And the last book I have is kind of funny because I've heard such good things about it, and I heard so much about it that I didn't want to read it. It didn't interest me anymore. But then I saw it in the bookstore and I thought, why not? I pick it up, read about it, and then I read it back and I instantly bought it because I thought it sounded so good. And this is Plain Bad Heroines by Emily M. Davenport. And this is dark academia, and it's a mystery, and it sounded really awesome. So it says, Brookhound School for Girls. Infamous site of a series of tragic deaths over 100 years ago, soon to be the subject of a controversial horror movie about the rumored Brookhound's curse. In the early 1900s, Brookhound students Flo and Clara fell madly in love, brought together by their obsession for scandalous memoir. A few months later, they were found dead in woods after a horrific wasp attack. The book lying next to their intertwined bodies. 3 more grisly deaths follows before the girl was forced to close. Now the school doors are open once more, but the crew of the glamorous young actress assemble started filming. Present and past begin to blur. Soon it's impossible to tell quite where the curse ends and how it begins. It sounds so good. It sounds really amazing and really, really intriguing. And it's a thick book, so it has a lot to go on. And it just sounds so good. And I read the beginning of the book, and it starts with the memoir of one of the girls who died in her diary, and it sounds so amazing, and the beginning was so good, and at the end it's like small notes, like footnotes. It's a lot of footnotes, and usually I don't like footnotes, but this was kind of interesting footnotes. And at the beginning there's a map. We love a map. And yeah, I can't wait to read this book. But that was the last book I had to show you. That was all the yellow books I have but haven't read. If you like this book, please leave me a comment. If you read any of these books and recommend them, please let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, it would be really nice if you subscribed. But that was all for now. Bye!